We turn our attention now to Minneapolis and the balance of power between the city council and the mayor's office. Another question on Minneapolis residents were asked to weigh in on is question number 1. And for more on that, we want to go to Caroline Cummings. Caroline, let's start with who's going to hold the city's top office.
Oh, you know what, folks? We'll get to Caroline a little bit later on in the show. We want to go ahead and begin with question 2, because everyone was so concerned about that, what it actually means for the future of the Minneapolis Police Department. And it means that the department will stay the way it is. It will not be defunded. It will not be turned into a Department of Public Safety. And it was a pretty decisive vote, 56 to 44%. Let's get through the other big races as well. The race for mayor, we want to go ahead and show you that. Now remember, this is ranked choice voting. We do have 100% reporting, but we don't know what people's second and third choices were. But their first choice was 43% for Jacob Frey. And we have St. Paul as well.
St. Paul residents also voted on the mayor. These are a little more slow in coming in. There's 40% of the precincts reporting. Right now, though, Melvin Carter, 60% of the votes, Dino Guerin with 13%, and Paul Langenfeld, 9%. And on the topic of rent control, election judges tell WCCO that they saw a steady stream of people coming in here, people concerned about this rent control. Minneapolis, we had the question here, and it looks like 53% are saying yes, they would like to see this amended to the authorized city council to regulate rents on private residential properties. 47% said no. As we said, election judges said they saw a steady stream of people in and out of polling places all day. Minneapolis is reporting a near record turnout. And with so many big issues on the ballot, we decided to ask the voters what they felt they needed to go to the polls.
I don't always vote in these off elections, but this time I thought, why not?
We're talking about doing some organizational change. And that's what's on the ballot right now at this point.
We went through a lot in 2020, and so this is the individual citizen's opportunity to voice their opinion.
Now, Esme Murphy is following the Minneapolis race closely. We also are going to have analysis from Pat Kessler and Abu Amara, who is a Minneapolis-based lawyer and Democratic strategist. As we dive into this race, Esme, let's start with you and ballot question number 2.
Well, Amelia and Frank, I think this is so interesting. I think this didn't pass because people just didn't want it. People just didn't think it was a good idea. And that's what we heard over and over again in the field when we talked to people. Obviously, getting a lot of credit here, Mayor Frey, who never wavered from his position despite some really tough moments where he had protesters outside his door. Also, I think a lot of people are going to be giving credit to Chief Medaria Arredondo. Chief Arredondo gave a speech last week and was hammered by some city council members for perhaps violating city ethics. But he gave this speech. It was fiery. It was emphatic. It said, this is not the way to go. This is not what our city needs. This is not the way for police or for citizens. And when the no vote was being structured and that campaign was being structured, the research they did showed that Medaria Arredondo was enormously popular and that people did not want to get rid of him. And that's something that is so important. And I think at the end of the day, he was a huge factor in this amendment going down. Now, let's talk about some of the Minneapolis City Council races, because Minneapolis City Council members, a number of them who championed this amendment, are going down. They're either going down or they are in trouble. Let's start with Ward 1, and this is actually the exception here. Ward 1, we have the incumbent Kevin Reich, who actually is trailing Thomas Wartwan. That's going to go to round 2 and round 3, so we'll see what happens there. In Ward 2, you have the incumbent, Cam Gordon, who is being challenged, and he's not even on there because he's number 3, 2 very young women who have a lot of personality, a lot of drive, Robin Wansley Warlaw and Yusra Arab. What is important here is that Cam Gordon, who's in 3rd, could still actually win that spot in number 2. Let me jump to number 3 here. Michael Rainville is ahead of Steve Fletcher by about 500 votes. In 2017, in the first ballot, Steve Fletcher was down by 500 votes, and he ended up winning. So we'll have to take a quick look at that. In number 4, North Minneapolis, this race really says a lot. Latricia Vitaw was out there campaigning with enthusiasm. She said, people in my ward do not want this amendment. They want change. They do not support Philly Cunningham, who was a strong supporter of the amendment. She won and gave an emotional statement just a few minutes ago to our Reg Chapman saying, I love this community and we deserve better. And I thought that was really a moment that seemed to sum up this entire election. Now, in Ward 5, we also have a very interesting race here. Now, right there, you've got Crystal Porter and Jeremiah Ellison, with Jeremiah Ellison up by 7 percentage points. Also, you have right in there, just behind Crystal Porter, you have Victor Martinez at 25 percentage points. This is going to be interesting when it goes to rounds 2 and 3, because you've got 3 strong candidates, and this is where somebody in the second or third position could, in fact, move up. So Jeremiah Ellison, while he's leading, he's vulnerable, shall we say that. Let's jump to 11. This is something that's really extraordinary. Jeremy Schroeder, one of the most supportive people for the amendment. Absolutely supportive. There was criticism from within his ward that he wasn't listening to voters. And Emily Koski, who is the candidate who ran against him, I talked to her a few days ago. She said she was running for her kids. She said people in this ward do not want to get rid of the police. I am running because I love this community. I grew up in Minneapolis, and this is not what people want. There you go. Congratulations, Emily Koski. And then in number 12, we've got Andrew Johnson, who actually did support the amendment. It looks like he is going to cruise to victory there. And finally, in Ward 13, you have Linnea Palmisano, and she is one of those who is being rewarded, along with Lisa Goodman in Ward 7, for actually opposing this amendment from the get-go. So a very interesting evening, folks.
Yeah, for sure. And it's certainly not over with ranked choice voting.
Yes.
Esme, thank you.
Pat and Abu, we know that the outcome of this ballot question is being watched closely by law enforcement community as well as nationally, not just here in the state. So what sort of implications will this result have statewide or nationally?
You know, it's a really interesting question. It's the most important question of all tonight, I think, Abu, that this failed in Minneapolis to dismantle the police. It's being watched all around the country. We heard Esme say that Minneapolis voters just didn't want it. Perhaps that is true, but perhaps there's more to it. Perhaps they didn't want this one, because I wonder if this is a setback for police reform. What do you see coming out of this?
It can be a setback for police reform. That's why it's incumbent upon Mayor Jacob Frey and mayors all across this country who are winning, saying we should keep police on what comes next. If you go back 18 months ago, you had a context in which people were demanding, clamoring for change. Just saying no and moving on is not going to work in this context. You've got to have an agenda moving forward that says, I hear you, I see you, your concerns are legitimate, but here's a different approach. And hopefully this council and this mayor can move in that direction.
We heard a police chief earlier on our newscast say that this is a wake-up call for politicians. Again, perhaps it is, but is it a wake-up call for police officers as well?
It's a wake-up call for both sides. So on the side of the activists, it's a wake-up call to say, I actually need to listen to what voters think before I put forth the proposal. It's clear to me if they would have went to community, they may have got some different ideas about how to do this amendment. But with law enforcement, it's a sign that this change, this push for change is not going anywhere. You had tens of thousands of voters demanding change, and until you come to the table with real solutions, this is going to continue to happen.
Well, the chiefs of police held their annual meeting today in St. Cloud. That's what we're talking about. Our Jennifer Mayerly was there to talk with them about their perspective of the ballot question, and here's what they had to say about all of this.
You know, what we do out here is life and death when conditions are the best they can be. This kind of lunacy needs to stop.
I'm hoping that if it doesn't pass, that we can get back to the conversations of reform and what's best for the profession and ultimately for our communities.
Yeah, so this is what's been happening with police officers all around the state who say they want to do the right thing, and they do. But now this was a real clear, Frank and Amelia, a really clear message from the voters of Minneapolis.
Speaking of voters of Minneapolis, you know, you look on the north side, Jeremiah Ellison has such name recognition, but he was such a supporter of question 2, and he's in this tight race tonight. What do you guys make of that? And when you get choices 2 and 3, could he be ousted as well with this question 2 move?
Well, this is a race that Abu has been watching all night long. This is so close with ranked choice voting. This could be one to watch here.
That's right. This is one of those few races where I talked about 95% of the time, if you're winning on the first ballot, you're going to win. This might be one of those 5% of cases where the margins are so narrow. If I remember right, it was something like 400 votes between first and second place. But this more broadly speaks to this seat has been held by an Ellison effectively for 20 years. Right? The Ellison family is a known commodity in North Minneapolis. Voters have trusted Keith Ellison time and time again, both for Congress, state representative, now Attorney General. And to see that shift away from his son, Jeremiah Ellison here, speaks to how out of touch I think Jeremiah might have been on this policing question.
Not listening to constituents, his own constituents?
That, and in addition to what is actually happening on the ground. African-American voters in North Minneapolis know better than anybody else in the city the impact that crime has in communities. And so they know firsthand when you say we don't need police, well, my neighbor was just robbed yesterday, or the guy across the street from me got mugged. They see it in real time and know that that's not a real solution.
And that's just a really interesting thing. If politicians are tone deaf to that, where there's crime in your neighborhood, and particularly in North Minneapolis, where African-American voters were saying, we don't want to get rid of the police, that seemed to have divided that community.
On the question, yeah, it divided on the policy. I will say Jeremiah, he cares deeply about North Minneapolis. Of course. But African-American voters are some of the most pragmatic, practical voters. Show me what you're going to do tangibly, and until you do that, I'm not going to take a leap of faith on some abstract theory of how policing should work.
Do you think it is shocking? Is this a shock for people watching in all the cities around the country, and in the Chicagos and New Yorks and Atlanta, San Diego, all of these places?
I think it's going to be a gut punch to many people who hoped we would be the blueprint.
Frank and Amelia, a big night in Minneapolis being watched all around the country.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you both.
And thanks for the perspective, because the impact certainly goes well beyond Minneapolis and City Hall. Coming up, Reg Chapman will join us with some of the conversations he's had with voters on the north side of Minneapolis.
And to share more of the vote totals with you, you can find the results from the races in your neighborhood in one place at WCCO.com/results.